Welcome back to the channel. We had to take a little bit of a COVID hiatus, so I missed you guys. I hope you missed me too. It beat me down for a few days, but we fought back. And this leads me to a really awesome topic for this week's video. During my time in quarantine, I really had a chance to sit back and reflect and do a lot of, high level thinking for both my companies, both Valley Junk Removal and Valley Christmas Lights, specifically because for about 11 days, I couldn't leave my house. So the business pretty much came to a screeching halt, and I got a chance to watch a lot of movies and lay around, but also just kind of level myself. As you guys had seen in the previous videos, things were kind of getting crazy, which is a good thing. I thought it would be awesome to talk about the top 5 things that I've learned since starting this business from day one to now, which you guys have been along for most of it, but I think it's been about 5 or 6 months. So let's get right into it. Before we go into this video, I want to make something really clear. I by no means think that I'm like the expert and like by any means should be an oracle of information for junk removal. Take everything that I say with a grain of salt and then hop around on YouTube a little bit and maybe take some pieces from other people, because there's a lot of guys out there that do a lot more revenue than me, have a lot more profit than me, have a lot more crews and employees and equipment. I'm just taking you guys from day one. So I'm never gonna sit here and tell you that I'm like an expert in the industry. I'm still very new in the industry and probably am a little naive to how to actually operate a business still, but it's working for me now. And as I'm growing, I'm getting better. And every day, week, month, and year, I should be improving in the business and the company should be improving. So with this list, this is from my perspective. Take it, apply it if necessary, but also put in the comments below if you disagree with anything. Let's get right into it. Number 1, and this is what I learned really from Valley Christmas Lights, and it kind of translated into Valley Junk Removal as well, which Valley Christmas Lights was the first company I started, and that is you are not your customer. And if I could stop the video right now and was just assured that this was hammered home with you, then I think the video would be a win. You are not your customer. Perfect example. In my first business I started, Valley Christmas Lights, we go out to nice residential areas and we install really, really, really quality Christmas light displays. And my average price per job last year was $1,896. I personally, at age 25, at that time, would never in a million years pay somebody $200 to hang Christmas lights, because I can do it myself. I have the time, I have the energy, I have the roommates that can help me, all that. And so I am not my customer means I take myself out of it. Just because I don't find value in paying for something doesn't mean that somebody else also won't find value in it. And that's something that every business owner has to remember. Take yourself out of it. You may not be your customer. You may be in a different financial situation than your ideal customer. You may be in a different age situation than your ideal customer. Depending on what you do, you might be in a different physical ability and readiness situation as your ideal customer. And so all these things factor in. So if I would have gone to my Christmas light business and said, okay, well, I got to charge people no more than what I would pay for it, I'd be charging people $200 a job, making no money.
I can tell you I don't have money.
And actually probably losing money at the end of the year. And the same thing is true with the junk removal. If I go out and at 25, now I'm 26, started the business at 25. If I'm going out to places and I'm charging everyone only what I was capable of paying or comfortable paying for that kind of service, I wouldn't be in business, because I was a 25-year-old dude who hadn't been employed for 12 months. Like, I don't have that sort of disposable income to flex out on people, but I am not my customer. And so anytime you do things, chances are 90% of the time when you start a new business, you're not charging enough. And that's because you're not confident in your business. You're not confident in your ability to sell your business, and you don't really have any proof of concept. And so honestly, we could just end the video here. You are not your customer. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, you do not have to do business with everybody who calls you. Some people are just dicks. Some people are just cheap as hell. Some people are so lonely that they call businesses or reach out to businesses, Facebook pages, or anything else just to talk to people. Some people want to pay $5 for an entire shed removal because, oh, you could go take that scrap metal to the scrap yard and make some money, or you could sell this and blah, blah, blah. You will waste so much of your precious time and energy trying to make a bad customer your customer, or taking on a bad customer and absolutely ruining your day or multiple days just to try to appease them and make you happy. When I was at my sales job, I had my biggest customer for a lot of the time was the bane of my existence.
Of course.
What happened was I was so obsessed with making them happy that all of my other business suffered. No, I was making, just from them, the commission I made a year was probably $20,000, $30,000 off of that one account, which was great. But the second I signed that account on, the rest of my business just stopped growing. My book of business just stopped growing. And that's because that customer was that big white buffalo I always wanted, but they were so high maintenance that it took away from everything else for my business. And keep in mind, that was just when I was a salesperson. So now take all the responsibilities that you have as a business owner. And if you have a few bad clients that are taking 2, 3, 4 times as long as a good client does, and wasting your time and energy dealing with who knows what, then your business is gonna suffer. And so that's number 2. You do not have to do business with everybody who reaches out to you. And in the beginning, it is so tempting. It is so tempting because you're so excited and you're making no money. You just want to get the ball rolling. And so you need to charge $350 for your trailer. And that person says, I'm not paying you any more than $200. And you want the job so bad that you just take it. And then you're stuck here doing a $200 job, paying $50 worth of dump fees. Your marketing customer acquisition costs were $25. You made $125 in 4 hours.
You're not very bright, are you?
And you just feel like crap. So that's number 2. Number 3, and this is really important, and I think that this was probably the thing I did the absolute worst in the Christmas light business and even in the junk removal, because I guess I just didn't learn the first time. Keep as much data and customer information as possible, even in the beginning when you don't think it matters. And so what I mean by that is, for the first 3 months of junk removal, I was only doing a job or 2 a day max. And so I wasn't putting in Excel customer addresses, customer phone numbers, customer emails. I wasn't putting in the way I acquired that customer, whether it was from Thumbtack, Google, word of mouth, anything else, price of the job, anything like that. And now, as I've got about 6 months under my belt, that kind of data is so important for you as a business owner to make a strategic move. And so a good example of that is like, okay, I want to sit back and I feel like I spent a lot of money on marketing this month. So man, it would be really convenient if I had data that showed me how much I spent with Google, how much I spent on Facebook, how much I spent on Thumbtack, and how many jobs I landed from them and how much. So say I spent $1,000 in the last couple of months on Google and I won $10,000 worth of jobs. That's 10 times my ad spend. That's pretty sweet. If I spent $1,000 on Thumbtack and only won $5,000 worth of jobs, that's something to look at. So maybe I take that budget and put more of it into Google, thus running with my fastest horse even further. But if I didn't keep data, there's no way I would ever keep track of that. And then on the top of that, you can do repeat marketing, you do mailers, email lists, everything else with past customers to, keep brand recognition, keep yourself top of mind once every year, once every couple years, anytime you run a special, etc. So I'm still bad at this, but keep more data than you think. It takes 2 seconds if you don't let it pile up on you. Number 4, and there's some people that comment in here that will disagree with this clearly. This is one that I'm very passionate about. Spend money to make money. This is probably, I have a lot of weaknesses. This is probably my biggest strength.
I have flaws. What are they? Oh, I don't know. I sing in the shower. Sometimes I spend too much time volunteering.
It might just come from just me being purely naive and almost arrogant with my self-confidence and what I think is my ability to run a business, that I have zero fear spending money. Like, if I want to try a new marketing strategy because I know that if I spend $100 here, I can potentially get back $500, $600, $700 there, I will do that in the drop of a hat. If I see a piece of equipment that's $400 that's gonna cut my job time in half, I'm gonna do that. What I see a lot of the time, and I'm a member of a ton of Facebook junk removal groups, I'm in a ton of Facebook Christmas light groups. In this community here, I see people that almost have like what I would call like a scarcity mindset, where, perfect example, someone could get on like a Facebook group that I'm a part of, or even in these YouTube comments or anywhere else, and say, oh my gosh, I just started advertising on Google Ads for the first time. It was over $5,000 worth of jobs. And you'll get people in the comments like, oh, how much did you spend? And the person's like, oh, I spent, $1,000, or I spent $800 or something like that. And you'll get people like, oh, that's so expensive. And to me, I'm like, if I can spend X dollar amount and get 5X or 6X dollar amount just by spending that, especially early on in the business, I'm gonna do that 10 out of 10 times, especially on marketing early, because everybody that you do business with once is a potential salesperson for you later on, as long as you do a good job.
You got another brilliant idea.
And so if you're paying more to acquire customers in the beginning, you have to be smart about it. You can't be like willy-nilly spending money everywhere. At the end of the day, if you're not making money, you're not making money. But if you have to pay people and pay a little bit more for marketing on the front end to get your name out there, get your truck on the streets, get your truck to the dump, especially early on in the business, do it. And don't listen to these people that say, oh, don't do all your marketing in-house. Dude, if you quit your job like I did and needed income now, you don't have the luxury of picking up a job on Saturday and Sunday and growing by word of mouth for 6 months to a year to bootstrap yourself from the ground up. You don't have that luxury. And so I have no problem spending money on Google Ads. Shoot, I make a really good living off of Thumbtack. And you go into these groups and people hate on Thumbtack like it's the worst thing in the world. I'll tell you, it's not. And finally, number 5, and if I could grab every human being that's going to start any sort of service-based business, any sort of home services, fixer-up, whatever business, if I could grab every human being that's just starting their business, and the second they say, because everybody will say, hey, what do you think of Home Advisor? What do you think of Angie's List? What do you think of Angie's Leads? If I could grab that person and shake them to the point where they're concussed and unconscious, I would do that. And I would do it again and again and again. Home Advisor, Angie's List, and Angie Leads are absolutely the devil's work, and they are from the pits of hell. There's a reason Home Advisor, they're all one now. I don't know what their business makeup, but they're all considered Angie Leads now. Why do you think they rebranded? I could take a wild guess. Probably because if you go ask any contractor that's been in business for more than 4 months, they say that Home Advisor, Angie's List, and Angie Leads are the worst possible companies in the world to use. Here's why. I'm actually gonna make an entire separate video about this, so I'm just gonna keep it really broad. Basically what they do is they find homeowner A who needs X done on their house. So homeowner says, oh gosh, I wanna do some landscaping work on my house. So they go to Angie's List and type in landscaping. Angie's List then has a bunch of contractors that do landscaping on their side that they lead match, which sounds great. Oh my gosh, a hot lead, a person who wants landscaping work, company that does landscaping work. Companies should absolutely want to pay for that because, they can get business. The problem is these people are greedy bastards. And instead of matching company A with customer B and just letting you go along your merry way, they match customer with company A, B, C, D, E, and F. So they charge every company anywhere from $20 to $30 to $40 for a lead, and they'll send that same job out to 4 or 5 companies. Think about that. So they charge 5 companies for a lead a lot of the time, knowing that 4 of them will pay for that lead for absolutely no reason. It's a predatory and stupid business model. There's a reason that they call off of the new business pages. So anytime they see a new business listing in a certain market, the second you create an LLC or anything like that, the first phone call you'll get is from Home Advisor, Angie's List, and Angie Leads. And the reason for that is because they can't sell to anyone who knows what they're doing anymore. They can't, because they suck. And they know they suck, but they got to keep the wheels turning. Now, the newer age companies have gotten a little bit better about it. Like they've taken some concepts from Angie Leads, Angie's List, and Home Advisor and made it better. Like Thumbtack, for example, still has that feature where they take your job and the customer can go reach out to 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the max they can reach out to is 5. Very rarely do I see it any more than 3. But what Thumbtack did is if you pay for that portion, you get access to a lead board, which is like you can pick up jobs that you didn't pay for. You can opt into like getting matched with somebody for a job, but you don't have to automatically pay for them. And then the other part, which is the reason I think Thumbtack is worth it, is Thumbtack's third prong, if you will, of ways that contractors can get jobs, is they have an instant booking feature. And I might make maybe 2 times my money or 3 times my money on the like Home Advisor type lead matching on Thumbtack, but the instant booking feature, I make so much money off of that. It is insanity. And all it is that classic Jeff Bezos trained buyer that wants it now. They don't want to reach out to 4 or 5 people for quotes.
Hell yes.
They want to get a job now, the job done now and booked now. And so they can go on to Thumbtack, click my business, check my availability, and book a time for us to come out. I don't have to quote them till I get there. They don't have another company coming out. They just instant book me and call it a day. So that's why I'm somewhat more accepting of Thumbtack than I am of Home Advisor, but also because Thumbtack hasn't been involved in class action lawsuits that state that Angie's List, Home Advisor, and Angie Leads have given dummy leads to contractors and charged them for it. Look it up. That's real. That is the 5 things that I've learned since starting a junk removal company. You are not your customer. You do not have to do business with everybody you talk to or everybody who reaches out to you. Track data early and often, and with more detail than you think you should. Don't be afraid to spend money to make money, but do it smart. And finally, Angie's List, Angie Leads, and Home Advisor are the devil. And anytime their salespeople call you, hang up and say, take me off your list. And they won't take you off the list. But tell them again, take me off the list and block their number. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a personal update. As you guys know, I've taken you guys through basically step by step on the junk removal company. But the junk removal company is actually the second business that I've gotten off the ground. The first one, I've mentioned it a few times, is Valley Christmas Lights. This is actually the company that supports me essentially throughout the year. It's my more established of the two, but now I guess the junk removal. The difference is on the junk removal, right now I think we're on pace to make just about $100,000 a year profit with this new run rate. The Christmas light business will make that plus a little bit more in about a month and a half. It's an absolute gold mine. I'm going to be making content about it as well. But now the challenge that I'm going through is actually not completely putting the junk removal company to the side, but making the Christmas light company successful. Because this is the first year I've had them both going at the same time. So I've actually hired a director of operations for the Christmas light company, and I have a few employees for that one. I might cross-pollinate them for a little bit in the junk removal company in the beginning while the Christmas season ramps up. But pretty much from November 5th to 10th on to December, middle of December, I work like 60, 70-hour weeks doing Christmas lights. So this will be a fun thing to experience. So we're actually going to change up the channel a little bit. So the junk removal is a good start. And I'll keep doing the junk removals, probably, I would say an update maybe once every 2 weeks now. But I'm going to start sprinkling in content from the rest of the things I have going on. So the Christmas lights, different things that you guys have started to ask about in the comments and everything like that since we've actually started to build a pretty solid following. I think we're up to almost 400 subscribers now. Make sure if you guys like this video thus far, hit the subscribe button. The content's going to get really cool out here. If you guys want more info on how to make money hanging Christmas lights, feel free to reach out. You guys know how to reach me. And thanks so much for watching, guys. It's good to be back.